This is a video I feel conflicted about. I'm still not sure if I even want to publish it, since it makes something that I've largely been able to approach from an outsider perspective much more personal. That's also why I'm not doing the whole avatar thing, the walls are coming down. It's just me sat here with my camera to discuss the facts that Lily Orchard sexually harassed me along with other critics. And that's not okay. So let's talk about that. But before that, content warning for the following: sexual harassment, sexual degradation, child predation, and transmisia. Links down below as per usual. So first things first, let's have a quick recap of what sexual harassment actually refers to. Because it's one of those things that most people are aware of to some degree, but rarely have a particularly detailed understanding of. I'll be pulling my definition of sexual harassment from Rape Crisis England and Wales, a UK-based charity that provides resources to victims of sexual violence. I'll be specifically reading from their page discussing sexual harassment. So according to Rape Crisis England and Wales, sexual harassment refers to someone engaging in unwanted conduct of a sexual nature that has the purpose or effect of either violating the other person's dignity, or creating an intimidating, hostile, degrading, humiliating, or offensive environment for them. They then further expand on this by giving us 19 examples. I'm not going to read them all, but I just wanted to note a few key ones which are relevant to today's topic. Those examples are sexual comments or noises, for example, catcalling or wolf whistling, sexual jokes, sexual post or contact on social media, and lastly, spreading sexual rumours. So these examples tell us three things. Sexual harassment need not be direct, as seen in the example of spreading sexual rumours. Posts online can constitute sexual harassment, and the claim that it was just a joke doesn't even have to be considered, since that is irrelevant. Facts I need you to keep in mind as we go forward. On December the 12th, 2022, Lily Orchard posted the following. The thing about the kind of person who obsessively roots for the downfall of random YouTubers is that it's clear at one point that they worship the ground that creator walked on. Parasocial worship and parasocial hatred are the same thing. You're still orbiting your entire life and personality around this creator. I hear so many times from randos in my mentions, I used to be such a big fan of Lily Orch. Bitch, you still are! You're still obsessively watching everything I do. You're still aggressively following me. You just gone from wanting to fuck me to wanting to fuck me non-consensually. Watching these people trying to find some hidden deeper meaning behind everything I do used to be annoying, then it was funny for a while, now it is just sad. Like, these people are working into such a frothing frenzy, such inconsolable crying, over random videos about cartoons? Me being snippy in a stream? Some imaginary fanfic you can't let go of? I mean, for all the bad faith moaning of why are you still talking about Steven Universe, I'm getting paid to do that. What are you getting out of obsessing over me other than clinical depression and increasing risk of going on a massacre and an ulcer? Of course, the main issue here is the section in which Lily states, I hear so many times from randos in my mentions, I used to be such a big fan of Lily Orch. Bitch, you still are! You're still obsessively watching everything I do. You're still aggressively following me. You just gone from wanting to fuck me to wanting to fuck me non-consensually. And there's a lot to unpack here, which, to be fair, people have been doing. I've seen others point out the facts that Lily is talking about her fans wanting to fuck her immediately after discussions surrounding the presence of minors in said fanbase. Then we have the way she's accusing her critics, without evidence, of wanting to rape her. Both of these points are important, and I'm glad people are talking about them, but what I haven't seen people talk about is the way Lily is making unprompted sexual comments as a means to degrade and humiliate her critics. Whilst talking to people about this, I gave the hypothetical in which a well-known Hollywood director who was blowing up in the news for inappropriate behaviour on set found himself in an interview with a female journalist who, naturally brought up said issue, only for him to explode in her face, talking about how her issues with him were clearly fake and that she just wants to ride his dick. He even goes so far as to say that he's almost certain that if he were drunk on the ground, she'd probably cop a feel the moment the cameras were off. That is a very clear-cut case of sexual harassment. This journalist is reporting on his actions, and as a result, he seeks to degrade her by making out that the only reason she's commenting on this is some suppressed and potentially violent lusting for him. It's degrading, it's humiliating, and that's the point. Another comparison I noticed more recently can be seen in frat boy rape culture. If, when a frat boy sexually harasses a woman and she vocally puts him in his place, drawing all attention to what he just did, a common response is for him to go, "Well, you clearly want me to rail you." Again, degrading and humiliating the woman whilst also undermining her initial complaint. It delegitimizes her opinion whilst threatening further sexual violence. That is what Lily is doing here, because while she fails to name names, it doesn't take a genius to figure out which group of people she's targeting. Not only does she bring up Stockholm, something myself and others have covered recently, but leaked footage has shown that Lily is currently working on a project in which she displays a photo of me with "stochastic terrorism" written underneath. It is pretty obvious who is included among the people she's referring to when she makes sexual comments like these. Though I need to take a step back here and be clear that I am one of the lucky ones, relatively. That's to say, unlike people like Mackenzie, Brittany, and Glade, I don't have past sexual experiences with Lily, consensual or not. This is my first time experiencing sexual violence at Lily's hands, meaning I can only begin to imagine how much worse it must feel for her other victims who do have that history, including people who are minors like Mackenzie and Glade, to have this thrown at them. Lily is accusing her victims of secretly wanting to do to her what she did to them, which can have a massive fucking impact considering just how confusing being a victim of sexual violence can make things at times. We live in a society that is constantly trying to gaslight victims, tell them that they wanted it, that they secretly loved it, and that they're at fault, in spite of some of them quite literally being minors. And this sort of rhetoric can feed directly into that. And yet, in spite of my relative distance, this still fucked me up when I saw it. I spent the day stewing over what had been said, wondering if it was the trans misogyny and trying to paint me as a sexual predator without evidence that caught me, only for my jaw to lock as the true nature of what Lily had done dawned on me. Because that's one of the many horrific things about sexual violence. You don't always recognize it as abuse in the moment. Unluckily for Lily, unlike most of her victims, I come from an academic background whilst also having advocated for victims of domestic and sexual violence for over a decade. I also have resources available to me in being married to a lawyer who specializes in women's and children's advocacy, meaning I can always get a second opinion. I'm not some random teenager that Lily lured into her community and abused for years before being discarded. I know how to spot sexual harassment, and I know the best way to tackle it is to call as much attention to what she's doing as possible. There is absolutely no reason for Lily to be making sexual remarks about her critics outside of a deep-rooted desire to use sexual violence as a direct means of inflicting pain. That is the only reason someone would do this, which says a lot about Lily Orchard and how her mind operates. It is unacceptable, period. Though what really scares me is the realization that if Lily is willing to go on public record sexually harassing her critics during a time where all eyes are upon her, what is she doing to her victims behind closed doors? What happens when nobody is looking? This is the side of Lily that she's okay with you seeing, the tip of the proverbial iceberg. Surely that's enough to at least get her fans to look into why people are criticizing her. Surely it causes even the most devout Lily fan to have their doubts. Regardless of the answer to that, I am not backing down. And Lily's actions in this post have only galvanized me. So we'll continue to put out exposés detailing the real-life cases of Lily grooming minors in her audience, the evidence that she has written and shared media that sexualizes children, and her attempts to justify real-world child rape. And if you want to see what we've put out so far, I've gone ahead and put a link to our playlist on Lily. It's constantly being updated as we put out more evidence. As for what I'm expecting to come of this video, my main hope is that by pointing this out, Lily stops sexually harassing her critics because it is unacceptable. I hope this puts an end to that, not just for my sake, but for the sake of her other critics. We saw how quickly she stopped deliberately misgendering me when she got called out on that. Hopefully we can do the same here, as that will make the conversation more accessible for Lily's victims, which is a vital part of what we're doing here. We're trying to amplify as many voices as possible. The more people who speak the truth about Lily, the harder it is for her to lie. I know it's been a short one, it's also been a little more personal, but I just needed to get this off my mind. Hope you're all doing well, or at least better than me, and if you'd like to help out, please consider becoming one of our wonderful patrons who make all this possible. On that note, we'd just like to thank the following people: Matthew Kovac, Gert Van Voorst, Hannah Banghart, Sosh Daniels, Flynn, and Higgins the Seagull. And for myself, Edita, and Levi, take care now.